Good morning, everybody. Ohayou gozaimasu. Today, I'm going to talk about two concepts. The first one is the black swan, and the other one is the gray rhino. As you probably have heard about the book or read the book called Black Swan, right? It represents big events happening around the world that's unexpected with a massive, usually negative impact, the 911 of the world and so forth. The gray rhino, right? The reason they call it gray because the actual color is gray, not white. Some people call it white rhino. Is the concept of risk management. The fact that we all have, risk all around us every day, but we fail to see. As a result, some of us go to the supermarket, forget our wallet, forget our password, and so forth, and therefore cannot enjoy the experience. The black swan in this case is something much much larger. At the personal level, I think it's something that is not predictable, right? And sometimes it can lead to a fatal, outcome, like people actually died because of an accident, right? So when people start driving so fast in the freeway, we are in Los Angeles here, people drive like crazy on the freeway, and then you got into an accident, then you pass away. Is that a personal black swan, or is that gray rhino, right? So you can take it either way, right? So with that being said, I do want to share a simple story. I do love, we love animals in our family, and where we live, we actually live in a city called Hacienda Heights, which is a hilly city. So we are surrounded. I want to say mini trails, mini hiking places. So if you like in this park, there's a sign, there's a coyote around, right? So just don't be afraid. Just be friendly. They're here looking for their food, like all of us. They need to eat. So coyote, I've been exposed to coyote. And we live probably about 3-4 miles from here. As we walk, we will encounter them sometime at a distance, right? And we like to kind of like do a meta analysis. When you see some animals, it tells you something, right? So there's a reference book called When Animals Speak. We look it up and they give you specific directions. Here's what's happening in your life, right? It could be anything. Anyway, my point is when yesterday, right, and today, this is the first time in my life living here. It's been over 30 years that I've never been visited physically in my backyard, right? So yesterday morning around 6 a.m., I saw one. And it was so quickly. I think we were both surprised to see each other. And then the coyote just left the backyard super fast, like a lightning bolt. I could not keep up with the speed. And I said, okay. So I look up the book, tells me what I need to do. And then this morning, about later, maybe but around the same time, about 6:30 a.m., I saw another one. I believe that's the same one, right? And it was kind of shocking now, but the fact is less because I saw it yesterday. Yesterday was much more shocking, even though it happens less than 10 seconds, but it was very interesting. So that to me is like Swan in a sense that uh, it doesn't have that big impact, positive or negative, but it tells me a message. The reason I mentioned this on the topic of Black Swan, because Black Swan is based on probability, right? Probability that things might happen in your life. When that happens, is fatal. The coyote thing, if I was able, I happen to be out there and the coyote is hungry, or the coyote happens to have a baby in my backyard because I have bushes in the backyard, then the coyote decided to attack me and I lost, right? Then that's it. That's my black swan, right? So that would be it. Now, with this being said, now I know it's not safe to go in the backyard, right? Because the coyote is available. I mean, it's 3 miles from here and it's about a mile from our house. We also have coyotes. So we got to be very, very careful. And that portion of the analysis is the gray rhino. There are threats out there, and you got to be able to respond to the threat because you don't know. You cannot control wild animals or wild animals. The wild animals is not domesticated animals, right? They will attack you as they wish. If they see an opportunity, they will do that. So, gray rhino, white rhino, and the black swan, right? So to recap that, in our daily life, we need to be very, very cautious about our personal black swan and also our personal gray rhino. In LA, we have infamous for road rage. People got emotionally charged and they start going at each other and they have to, everybody has a gun, most of people, and they're going to shoot at each other. They put time for what? For emotional, energy that's not necessary. So we just have to be very, very mindful of this personal black swan and also the personal gray rhino. Okay. Thank you. Have a good day. Aloha.